your third Luminary, Stuart, is appropriately titled for this time and place, I think, is an emotionally safe school more than just a dream?
You know, we are living in the midst of the most extraordinary revolution in education that I've ever seen. I can't believe what's happening. When you and I first started talking about Havens, and this was what, 7, 8 years ago, it was like we were, trying to get this message across about why this is so important for you to have, for educators to have on their radar. All around us, what we're seeing are teachers, administrators making the most incredible strides in becoming a haven. And I'm not just talking about some of our leading self-regulars, people like Kathy Lethbridge, our principals, who are bringing self-reg ideas and practices to their own institutions. My son goes to a school where it's part of KPR. And every Friday, the director sends out what is literally a Haven letter. And so now I feel much more that this is a case of us becoming partners with what's happening in schools across the province and across the country. Schools that are so eager to become havens. And that's where you and I have a special role, because we have some really important insights we can share, insights about the importance of neurodivergence, insights about the importance of changing how kids manage the stresses in their lives, changes in how teachers manage the stresses in their lives and in the lives of their students. So this one for me is, this is just magic what's happening in Canada, and I am so thrilled that we can be a part of this.
So here's the interesting thing about what Stuart just shared, and why I have so much, why this symposium's theme is so timely. First of all, I think sometimes we forget because we actually live an hour apart. I get those same letters with a post-it tag. It's their new director. It's the new director, in our area, and very equity focused. And they're truly are examples of letters to all the parents and that are leading in a certain kind of way to a certain kind of community. And I'm a fan of those letters. I read them every single week as well. My daughter's in a school quite far away from your son, but how it actually changes what we see, what we think about matters. But the other thing is what Stuart just shared. He's been sharing for years. And the things that I receive as executive director of this organization are, can you show me, and I remember there was a group that came from Alberta years ago, and one of our favorite
Yes.
self-reggers, who is Karen Braun, and she was part of that. There are others that were involved in that, but they came out here to kind of see some examples. We did our very best to introduce, and met all kinds of amazing others, that we got a chance to meet. We're out near Trent University in Peterborough, and lovely relationships. But it's really hard to show somebody a haven, because as soon as you hear that, we think, oh, we think, oh, it's like a program. So it's done in a certain kind of way, or it's like a demonstration class where we can go and kind of see it,
Yeah.
and it looks in a certain way and it's going to show us what to do. And yet that's the funny thing. You might have this beautiful school or this beautiful early childhood center or this, beautiful kindergarten class. We're here a lot about kindergarten these days. And it's actually not a Self-Reg Haven. It has some of the elements because the environment is a third teacher kind of idea. And yet you don't feel it the minute you walk in the door. And then alternatively, you might go into a school that maybe isn't as organized. Clutter can be dysregulating, for example, or doesn't have the perfect. You don't walk in and think, oh, that's the look at that great pedagogy. Pedagogy is part. We often think this is an add-on. Good pedagogy is self-regulating, right? Good pedagogy. Listen to your people that are encouraging you around pedagogy, because if you actually have a look in there, you'll find, the balance. We could look at it through a self-reg lens easily. And yet you're like, this is what I'm looking for, because it is not a program, right? But how can you use the framework? Self-reg is a framework, so that's really my big area, is how to use the framework, so how to bring it at the group level in all these different contexts. And so that's honestly what we're trying to focus on this year, when that idea of for real, that opening luminary that I'm doing is what is this? What does it look like? We're at a much better place because we have many more people on a self-reg journey. Hear that word?
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's not a destination. There's not this fixed place that we can invite you to come. There are these stories and examples and really different ways of looking at it and approaching it that are fit the culture and the community, and the context. That's where that all kind of fits in, but each one looks different, and it
Yeah.
is how to do that, right? And examples for that. And also, I don't even think Stuart realized this when he said it, but guess who is hosting a panel conversation right after Stuart's talk? Is, of course, Kathy Lethbridge, who's an example at a district level. And it's not to say that every place she's ever worked, every school she's ever worked with is a Self-Reg Haven. Probably not even close, but some of them are. And some of them are on that journey. And how
Yeah.
did she do it at a district level? And we have a number of people on this panel that will tell you how they did it at a school level. And some that have been principals at multiple schools and how they've done it, and a chance for you to learn and then interact and ask questions as well. So, if you're going to say, oh, yeah, great, I love that, but how? Well, you can ask that to the panel that follows Stuart. We set that up on purpose, but so it's very good. You got to come to the symposium this year.